Welcome, dear subscribers. As we embark on this journey together, let us begin with a prayer. In the serene setting of Li Wei's quaint Beijing apartment, he finds himself in a moment of solitude just before setting off for the wedding banquet. His apartment is a testament to his traditional values, adorned with relics of his heritage and family photos that tell a story of love and unity. As he gets ready, he pauses to reflect on his life. He is a man of tradition, respect, and courtesy, qualities that have shaped his life and the relationships he holds dear. He kneels before the small temple in his living room, hands clasped together in a symbol of reverence. He prays for guidance, for strength, and for the wisdom to make the right choices. He prays for his friends, especially for the groom, his longtime companion. His heart is filled with joy for his friend's new beginning, yet a part of him yearns for a similar companionship. As he rises from his prayer, he looks at himself in the mirror. He adjusts his tie, straightens his jacket, and takes a deep breath. He picks up the wedding invitation from the table, traces the intricate patterns with his fingers, and feels a sense of anticipation. His heart is open, ready for the evening's possibilities. With one last glance around his apartment, he steps out into the bustling streets of Beijing, unaware that this evening will bring him an unexpected encounter that will change his life in ways he never imagined. In the vibrant heart of Beijing, during a festive wedding banquet, Li Wei found himself in an unexpected conversation. The banquet hall was abuzz with lively chatter and laughter, but at a table tucked away from the main festivities, Li Wei sat alone. His friends had momentarily stepped out, leaving him to his thoughts amidst the merriment. It was then that he noticed a woman approaching, her elegance and charm radiating like the glow from a lantern in the night. Her name was Mei Ling. She was a friend of the bride, a fellow member of their community group. With a warm smile and a nod of his head, Li Wei invited her to join him. He was a man of tradition, of respect and courtesy, and it was these values that guided his actions. As they began to converse, Li Wei shared stories of his long-standing friendship with the groom. He painted a vivid picture of their shared memories, of their youthful escapades, and the laughter that filled their past. Mei Ling's laughter in turn filled the present, making their conversation flow as easily as the river outside the banquet hall. Their pleasant interaction was briefly paused when an old acquaintance of Mei Ling's arrived. The joy of their reunion was palpable, and Li Wei, ever the gentleman, was asked to capture the moment with his phone. In the aftermath of the click, a misconception was born. The friend, misinterpreting their easy rapport, assumed they were a couple. Mei Ling did not immediately clarify, and the misunderstanding led to a playful exchange once the friend had moved on. The evening unfolded, marked by shared meals, laughter, and a series of selfies. In one, Mei Ling rested her head on Li Wei's shoulder, a gesture that suggested a familiarity beyond their brief acquaintance. With each shared smile, each shared story, Li Wei felt a sense of hope and possibility. He found himself increasingly drawn to Mei Ling, intrigued by the woman who had unexpectedly entered his life during this festive night in Beijing. Li Wei's elation was short-lived when a late-night phone call shattered his hopes. Overwhelmed by the promise of a budding romance, Li Wei decided to reach out to Mei Ling after the banquet. The moment had arrived, he thought, to take the first step towards a future filled with shared laughter and warm companionship. As he dialed Mei Ling's number, his heart pounded with anticipation. But the voice that answered, deep and unfamiliar, was not the one he had hoped to hear. Instead of Mei Ling's soft and welcoming tones, he was greeted by the assertive voice of Mei Ling's boyfriend. A wave of embarrassment washed over Li Wei as he found himself in a painfully awkward conversation. The laughter he heard in the background, presumably from Mei Ling, felt like a slap in the face. Humiliation set in as Li Wei realized he had misinterpreted the evening's events. The friendly banter, the shared meals, the selfies, all the signs that he had read as hints of a possible romance were, it seemed, simply acts of friendly camaraderie. Mei Ling's boyfriend, mistaking Li Wei's call as a joke, laughed off his advances while Mei Ling herself remained silent. The hurt was profound. Li Wei had approached Mei Ling with kindness and respect, only to be met with mockery. The laughter, once a source of joy, had turned into a cruel taunt. Each chuckle felt like a dagger, pricking his dignity and amplifying his humiliation. As he hung up the phone, Li Wei was left grappling with a whirlwind of emotions. The promise of a new beginning had been abruptly replaced with a crushing reality. His heart, once filled with the warmth of hope and possibility, was now gripped by a cold sense of despair. Humiliated and hurt, Li Wei was left questioning the sequence of events. He replayed the evening in his mind, wrestling with the stark contrast between the connection he thought he had felt and the harsh reality he now faced. A painful question lingered. How did he get it so wrong? Motivated by a mix of hurt and a desire for vindication, Li Wei devised a plan. He had been humiliated, his feelings of potential love reduced to a laughing matter. He felt a need to balance the scales, to introduce a hint of chaos into the seemingly perfect world of Mei Ling and her boyfriend. Li Wei's plan was simple, yet devious. He would create a rift of doubt and mistrust in their relationship. He would paint a picture of infidelity, a lie designed to shatter their trust in each other. The weapon of choice? A phone call from an unfamiliar number. Picking up a spare phone, he dialed Mei Ling's boyfriend. As the phone rang, he steeled himself. He put on a voice different from his own, and when the unsuspecting boyfriend answered, Li Wei began to spin his tale. He spoke of seeing Mei Ling in the arms of another man, of whispered sweet nothings, of an illicit rendezvous that never happened. The boyfriend listened, his voice trembling with shock and disbelief. Li Wei's words were like venom, seeping into the cracks of their relationship, threatening to break it apart. He hung up, leaving the boyfriend to grapple with the seeds of doubt he had planted. But Li Wei wasn't done. When Mei Ling called him, confusion and anger in her voice, he played the role of the wrong man perfectly. He spoke of his disappointment, his feelings of betrayal. He left her with questions, with uncertainty, with the echoes of a lie that could potentially shatter her relationship. Li Wei had sown the seeds of doubt, leaving Mei Ling and her boyfriend in a state of uncertainty. The stage was set for the drama to unfold. The plan was in motion. But as he sat back, a sense of unease washed over him. Had he done the right thing, or had he let his hurt feelings cloud his judgment? Only time would tell. The fallout of Li Wei's actions was swift and intense. His plan, once a silent whisper of vindication, had now echoed into reality, its reverberations shaking the ground beneath him. It was the ring of his phone that brought the storm. Mei Ling's number flashed on the screen, her call a tornado of confusion and anger spinning out of control. Mei Ling's voice was a tightrope of emotion, balancing between fury and disbelief. She demanded answers, her words a hailstorm, battering against Li Wei's defenses. Her confusion was palpable, a fog thick with questions. Who was this mystery woman who claimed to be in a relationship with her boyfriend? Why was she hearing about this now? Li Wei, on the other end of the line, felt the sting of betrayal anew, the wound fresh and raw. His heart pounded like a drum, echoing his disappointment. He had approached Mei Ling with nothing but respect and kindness, only to have it thrown back in his face. Now, he was the one to throw the proverbial stone, watching as the ripples disturbed the calm surface of their relationship. He voiced his feelings, his words heavy with the weight of unfulfilled hopes and shattered dreams. His disappointment was a torrential downpour, washing over Mei Ling, leaving her to grapple with the flood of uncertainty he had unleashed. He left her with the seed of doubt, a bitter pill to swallow, and hung up the phone. The aftermath was a battlefield, littered with the debris of broken trust and tainted memories. Li Wei had succeeded in causing discord, his plan playing out like a symphony with a bittersweet finale. But as the dust settled, he was left to wonder, at what cost? The fallout was a mirror, reflecting the consequences of his actions. It was a bitter reminder of the fine line between justice and revenge. He had embarked on this journey seeking vindication, but found himself standing amidst the wreckage of his own making, questioning the price of his victory. Li Wei had succeeded in causing discord, but at what cost? As the dust of Li Wei's actions settled, he found himself alone, left to ponder over the consequences of his actions. The lingering echo of Mei Ling's furious words filled the room, a stark reminder of the discord he had sown. The satisfaction he had initially felt was quickly replaced by a gnawing sense of unease. As the weight of his actions bore down on him, Li Wei felt a sudden urge to seek solace, to find peace amidst the chaos he had created. In the quiet solitude of my room, I find myself drawn to prayer. Li Wei's voice echoed in the silence, his words a whisper against the backdrop of his turmoil. I bow my head, close my eyes, and let the silence envelop me. In this moment of solitude, I seek guidance, strength, and forgiveness. Heavenly Father, Li Wei began, his voice steady and sincere, I come before you today, humbled and remorseful, seeking your guidance and forgiveness. I have allowed my hurt to guide my actions, leading me down a path of spite and deception. I've lost my way, Father, and I need your light to guide me back. Grant me the strength to face the consequences of my actions, the courage to admit my mistakes, and the wisdom to learn from them. Help me to understand that my worth is not determined by others' perceptions, but by my own actions. To maintain dignity, I must act with integrity even when faced with scorn. To uphold respect, I must treat others with decency even when it's not reciprocated. And Father, help me to forgive. Help me to understand that people are complex, capable of both kindness and cruelty. Give me the capacity to forgive, not just Mei Ling and her boyfriend, but also myself. For it is in understanding and forgiveness that I can truly find peace. In your name I pray, Amen. As the echo of his prayer faded into the silence, Li Wei felt a sense of calm wash over him. He had sought vindication, but instead, he had found a profound lesson about dignity, respect, understanding, and forgiveness. And perhaps in the end, that was the greatest victory of all. As the aftermath of his actions unfolded, Li Wei found himself reflecting on the consequences. The echo of Mei Ling's angry words still reverberated in his ears, a stark reminder of the discord he had sown. He had achieved his aim, yes, but at what cost? The satisfaction he had initially felt was quickly replaced by a gnawing sense of unease. Li Wei realized he had allowed his hurt to guide his actions, leading him down a path of spite and deception. It was a path he had never intended to tread, and it led him to a place of moral ambiguity. He had manipulated the truth, betrayed trust, and in doing so, compromised his own integrity. Was this the person he wanted to be? Was this the legacy he wanted to leave behind? In the quiet solitude of his thoughts, Li Wei began to question his actions. He had sought vindication, but instead he had lost a part of himself. The respect and kindness he had shown Mei Ling at the banquet, the qualities that defined him, were overshadowed by his retaliation. He had allowed a moment of rejection to redefine his character. In this introspective journey, Li Wei discovered a profound lesson about dignity and respect. He learned that one's worth is not determined by others' perceptions but by one's own actions. To maintain dignity, one must act with integrity, even when faced with scorn. To uphold respect, one must treat others with decency, even when it's not reciprocated. But perhaps the most significant lesson Li Wei learned was about understanding and forgiveness. He realized that people are complex, capable of both kindness and cruelty. He understood that he could not control others' actions, only his own reactions. And in this understanding, he found the capacity to forgive, not just Mei Ling and her boyfriend, but also himself. Li Wei's experience underscored the importance of understanding and forgiveness, even when faced with scorn, in the tapestry of life's unexpected encounters.